Cool. Well, this first part's just a study session, yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
let's
yeah, if you want to
study.
call that to order, we are live now.
Okay, great. Let's call this study session on April 30th to order.
Do you guys want me to take roll call?
You want to take roll? Yeah, why don't you take roll call, just since we have a larger crowd than normal.
All right. Brad Bassick.
Here.
Tom Malinowski.
Here.
Ed Ripe.
Here.
Joe Skavarik.
Here.
John Novosich.
Here.
Alfredo Estrada.
Here.
Tom Schmidt. Robin Arvanitis. Their audio's off. Caleb Johnson.
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. Joshua Barnes.
Here.
And Irene Morales.
Here. And I believe Bob Volkman's here too, Kristen.
Oh yes, Bob Volkman is here as well. And that's all of them.
Did you get Jim Gorman?
Awesome.
Oh, sorry, Jim Gorman. Maybe he can't hear us.
All right. Well, I know we've got some notes we want to go through. Off. You guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
It's coming in choppy for me, the stream.
Yeah. Yeah, I think our internet's taxed here a little bit too.
It's like a foreign movie. Your lips are moving. But
work. Here, I'm going to try taking it off the headset and see if this helps. Can you guys hear me okay? Is this better?
Yep. Much better.
Okay.
Yes.
Yep. Awesome. All right, good. Get rid of this. All right, John, do you want to kind of walk us through? I know you prepared some notes. Do you kind of want to walk us through that, and then we can just all discuss how to proceed going forward before we move into the official meeting?
Sure, and thanks everyone for taking the time. And I hope everyone's doing well, staying safe. Josh, Irene, and myself have been meeting regarding the events. And a while back, we had looked at May 1st as being our target date. And, we still are looking at that date as hopefully a date that we can make a decision on or by. So what I did was circulate notes from our discussion and meetings that have the current status of the events, where we're at with all the particulars, and then some of the concerns and factors that we want the board and others to consider. And I'll let Josh kind of run through the current status of where we're at with the vendors and Carnival. You there, Josh?
Yeah, I'm here. John, would you like me to just go down the list with the current status? Is that what you'd like?
Yeah, if you could kind of follow down the notes, hopefully everyone has those with them.
Okay, cool. So, current status for festival and parade. The first part we talk about with the state permit, it has not been submitted. Usually we submit a state permit for all of our major events. I did speak with somebody through the state. They indicated they are still issuing the permits. However, they're still waiting on the government's next direction, which is obviously tomorrow. They did also state that as well as the office has been closed. And while they are issuing those permits, they still cannot at this time schedule a inspector out. So typically at the events, an inspector comes out and inspects a lot of the rides and things to that nature, but they physically can't, schedule those people because they are closed. For the carnival, I've spoken to the carnival, Robert from Modern Midways. We had a new carnival operators this year. I've spoken to them through email and through phone. They're still a go completely inside of our contract, we do have the pandemic, so we could cancel, they could cancel with no fault to each other. And he did speak to me regarding some of the measures they're taking, just having basically extra signage as well as some extra hand sanitizers at each ride, but they are still a go. The beer garden, the vendor proposal was approved, but agreement not finalized, pending event status. The vendor available, but has not filed for any permits, insurance, etc. So for the fest specifically, I spoke with Aaron Anderson, who leads that with the fire department. He would need possibly, the latest, probably about a week. He did say a few days, but for me, that's cutting it a little close. So I would have to give him at least a week if we didn't decide to cancel the fest and see where our deadlines were, just because with the whole COVID situation, I think things may take a little longer than what he would normally need. So at least a week out to, prepare for the beer garden. The entertainment, the bands have been booked. We've only have one deposit down, which would be the Libido Funk Circus at $1,500. We would lose that. However, they are opening to rescheduling as well because they are looking for work. Payments are made for all the other bands after the performances. Being a parks department and a municipality, we kind of get that leisure or luxury of not necessarily having to put down as many deposits because we're not necessarily like a private event where we'll just cancel off the whim. So we're kind of lucky in that regards. So to not having to put down as many deposits. But I did speak to some of the people that might change in the future because of this situation, because they do have performers that would have to necessarily, this is their living. Food vendors, 9 have been paid. There are 4 that are tentative. So I've been in contact with a lot of the food vendors. I only have roughly half signed up. And the other half are either they're waiting or they don't have money. And those that I have that are down for tentative, I have their application, but they're just like I told them, I said, I don't want to accept your money or your payment and then have to go back and spend that payroll and get you a refund. You were waiting on that money because it's $600 for that fee to get to them, and that's very important to them. And some don't have it because they depend on vet fairs and festivals that happened before our event, and they haven't gone on at all. So I've been in contact with them. Crafters, we typically see 20 to 30. I only have 7 right now. 3 are tentative, which are the same boat as they submitted their application. They're waiting to pay to see how things are going. Suppliers, tents, porta potties, light tower, and generators have all been reserved. I have contracts on all of them, but there's no deposit. It's all meant to be paid after. The only one that gets paid at installation is the tents. I have been in conversation with them on, how would this look if we did cancel? They just need to know as soon as possible because they are having certain areas, especially with the light towers and the generators, that they're considered more essential aspects. Same thing with the tents. But we've also worked with them a lot, so they're kind of flexible. That's it for the fest. John, do you want me to stick with the fest for now?
If you want, you can continue in the fireworks.
Okay, so the current status for the fireworks as well. For Mad Bomber, we are under contract. It's still available. No payments have been made to date. Contract allows for rescheduling of show within 6 months. The beer garden, the vendor proposal was approved, but agreement not finalized, pending event status. Vendor available, but has not filed for any permits, insurance, etc. And that's Region Ale. Entertainment, the band. Sorry, did someone say something? Okay.
No,
the band.
I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. The band has been booked. No deposit issued. Payments made after the performance. Food vendors, 10 have paid, 5 are tentative and have not paid. So same thing when it comes to the fest. And then crafters, 4 have paid. Suppliers, porta potties, light towers, and generators have all been reserved but not confirmed. So the same thing goes with the fireworks. With the fest, we pay that after the fact. So that's kind of like the current status where we're at for the festival and the parade. Festival, parade, and fireworks. Well, parade-wise, it's more of as we get closer to the event, we don't necessarily reserve anything, but it is a big communication piece when it comes to, Lake Central reached out to me. I don't know how they would necessarily be practicing because they have their marching band. That's probably the biggest participant in the entire parade, and he did ask if it's moving forward. I said it's on life support, and it's not looking good. And I just keep him informed, and that our decision was, May 1st, more than likely.
Were there any questions from the board?
John, the only question I have, and Josh, on the Mad Bombers, from what I remember, I thought that was like 20 to 25,000. If we choose not to go ahead with the event in July, or not within 6 months of July 4th, do we have any liability to pay them?
John had mentioned, you had said it was 40%, John, right? On the contract?
Yeah, in their contract, they have, they mentioned 40% of the cost of the show if it's canceled. Now, the contract also has a deposit or a down payment, which was waived. So we don't have anything that was currently paid. Randy from the Mad Bomber indicated that, they would work with us since we've been with them so long. So that would just have to be, a question again that we'd have to bring up to them and see, if they would pursue something or not. To enforce that, Joe.
Okay, thank you.
How did we come up with the May 1st date for the date that we wanted to make decisions on all of this? Can you guys talk us through how you came about that?
Yeah, for sure. So we had sat down probably a little bit over a month ago, I would assume, right before April started, me, Irene, and John, and we looked at our current status of when people need to start getting information from us if we're moving forward. Specifically like tents, food vendors, as well as when we need to, issue checks. So town council meetings, the docket. So our docket is the last day would be May 4th, which is Monday. So to get things like the band checks on the docket, any of these other payments for the tents or the porta potties, things of that nature would also have to be kind of on that docket. One of the things I kind of stressed to John was with these food vendors, because they are not getting any income right now or revenue, it's very important that if we are going to, in my opinion, if we're going to cancel, I would want to get them their money sooner rather than later. So, if we were to cancel by tomorrow, we could get them their payment in the second week of May, versus if we waited later in May, we couldn't get it till the second week of June. And there's nothing really happening right now. And it's not like a party in the park where a food vendor is $75. I mean, some of them paid $700 to be in a 5-day fest. That's that's trying to change.
Yeah, I think also, Brad, and the rest of the board, we're looking at, having sufficient time to get advertising out, and also filing for permits. Really, by this point, we would have had the state amusement permit already submitted for the event, and we've been holding off on that because there is a cost. I believe it's probably right under $300 for the event. So to allow enough lead time to get, through the system and get an okay that, the permit has been approved. I know, talking to Aaron too previously, he thought they could get a permit through state excise probably soon in 30 days. But, like Josh had mentioned, if, right now things have seemed to be delayed